This episode of NOLA Film Scene is brought to you by the Law Office of Jana McCaffery. Welcome to NOLA Film Scene with TJ Plaideau.
I'm TJ.
And as always, I'm Plaideau.
Hi, we're Fandom Natural. I'm Emily.
I'm Chris.
And we are known for our car, Artemis the Impala, a supernatural baby replica. And we're filming with NOLA Film Scene. Super excited to get started with these guys.
Beyond excited to finally actually sit down and talk with y'all on this platform. We've seen y'all at plenty of conventions. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, for sure.
I think,
happy to be here.
I think the highlight is the talking and sitting down for once, because we see you at the con while you're working.
Yeah.
You can tell people what you do with that car at cons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So really, the vast majority of what we're doing with that car is photo ops. And it means we're on our feet all day. I take people's phones. He takes people's phones. And sometimes we'll take little videos for them, but most of the time we're taking a lot of posed photos of people with the car at every possible angle with the weapons inside of it, all that jazz. So people get to feel like they got to meet baby and be a hunter for a little while. Oh, and this one likes to dress up as a certain character.
Yeah, I do that from time to time. That's actually a more recent addition. I'll dress up as Cass from the show and, kind of give people a little bit, I guess best way to say it is a little more delving into that universe a little bit. I enjoy the acting of that quite a bit just because, I get to be a different person for a little bit, and it makes a lot of our patrons very excited, just because they're like, oh my gosh, it's Cass.
Oh, yeah. He really throws himself into it.
And just in case people don't know, it's from the show Supernatural. Mm-hmm. It's an Impala. What year?
Yes.
1967.
1967 Chevrolet Impala.
1967.
Four-door hardtop.
Black as night.
Black as night.
That's my favorite year Impala. I love the shape of those Impalas.
Oh, they're
and
beautiful.
There's nothing quite like it on the road.
And they can sit in the car sometimes. Does your trunk have the weapons?
It does. Plenty. There is still a lot more to go. For fans who have watched the show, you know that it is loaded top to bottom. And we, people go, oh, I don't know if you have enough. And I'm like, you would not believe what this looks like when it's all actually shoved in there. But yeah, we do have plenty. We've got the Colt. We've got lots of the throwing knives, the shotgun that props it up. There's, the arrow in baby's trunk is always really popular. We do have the angel blade. Next up, we're getting the first blade and the demon blade. So
very cool.
So what came first? Sorry, Brian. What came first? Did y'all have the car and then decide to start doing the tours, the events, or did y'all get the car specifically to do that?
So whenever this was, I don't know, a couple years back now, I told Emily I wanted a classic car. I enjoy working on cars. I've been doing it, my own stuff with my cars, maintenance, the general stuff like that. But I told her I want a classic car. And she turned around and said, I want a 1967 Chevrolet Impala 4-door hardtop in black. And I kind of looked at her and was just like, that's super specific. And it's not a car I would have ever considered. I thought we were going to get like a Corvette or a Mustang. And she was like, well, it's from the show Supernatural. And I went, okay, I've heard of the show. I had never seen it. And so after we talked about it a bit, we went, okay, well, let's go ahead and, I can, if she's okay with us getting a classic car, I'm okay with getting the one she wants.
Meeting in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, we are married. You always are, reaching some sort of compromise there.
Got a compromise.
The middle,
that's right.
75%. We understand your middle, Emily.
Right. Hey, that's a good day if I only have to go 75% of the way. Just kidding. But we ended up driving all the way to Georgia, picking it up, driving it home. And that we had it for a bit before we finally put it in a local convention and said, you know what, let's just see what happens with this. I'd never thought we were going to ever go in that direction.
Well, to be fair, I think I actually told him, I was like, listen, I really wanted it because I'd gotten back into the show and I realized, oh, right, this is a real car. You can just have it. You can just buy it. It's not actually that simple since it is a fandom car. People do obsess over it, and the 67 hardtop Impalas, those 4 doors, are rare to begin with. not necessarily in a like,
the four-door.
200 made kind of thing, but 1 in 6 of the 4 doors made were the hard tops. And then on top of it, they just weren't popular to buy. And, so since the show came out, they've gotten more and more rare because other people go buy them. But I said, you don't understand. I did want to bring it to an event. I had never seen one at any local conventions. We live in the Deep South. It boggled my mind because it feels like the kind of area where you would really be able to lean into that, especially in New Orleans with our culture of, voodoo and hauntings and vampires and all that stuff.
Supernatural.
Exactly. So, that was my goal. I was like, I don't think you understand. We can totally get into this, but don't worry. We won't do it in the first year that we own it. But that's not what ended up happening. Because as far as repairs go and cosmetics, we kind of had a very big snowball effect in the first few months of owning it. That got us a lot closer, a lot faster than originally intended, which is how we ended up at just our very tiny local con in St. Tammany in May. So we'd owned it like 8 months at the time.
If that.
Yeah, if that. So really pedal to the metal.
What year was your first con?
Last year, so 2025. So we bought it the first week of September in 2024, and May 3rd, 4th was
Something like that, yeah.
was the convention in St. Tammany of 2025. So not far apart at all. So this last year that you guys met us was all of our first conventions for every single one you had us at or saw us at.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
We met in Mississippi, which should have been June of 2025. So you had really just started.
It was our second convention.
That was our biggest one at that time.
Yeah.
Because obviously the local one was very small, and then all of a sudden they're like, because of Scott Ennis,
yes.
Hey, you should come with us to Mississippi. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He knew the owner of the manager of the VXV cons and said, hey, these guys right next to me are in their Supernatural car. Do you have one for your conventions? You should have them at Mississippi Con. And the guy was like, yeah, sure. Okay. And so 1 month later, there we were. And Scott's been great. He keeps in contact with us and lets us know where he's going so that we can try to coordinate. Yeah.
Very cool. And, I've taken a picture with a Supernatural car. It must not have been yours because it had to be before the pandemic. And I was dressed as Captain Crescent City, which we'll throw it in the video here and I'll send it to you.
I look forward to that.
Thank you. Here's my bad news that I warned you I was going to share about Supernatural. My shame, my secret. I've only seen one episode.
Oh, no.
And it's the Scooby-Doo episode, which I loved. But I only watched one.
Well,
can you forgive me?
I can. It'll be all right. But you better promise to watch it, like pinky swear. If we see each other all the time, man. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Got it.
If you must know, my Supernatural secret is that I haven't finished the show. So I am a little bit further ahead. Yeah. 13 seasons in of a 15-season show, but it's about as much work as keeping that car running to get through it.
It is. And he's almost to the end of season 13.
I didn't remember it was that many.
Yeah, it's 15 seasons, 327 episodes. Lots of
watching. And a spinoff? Did they have a spinoff?
Yeah, The Winchesters, which was one season, a very different format, story-wise and everything to the main show. That was Jensen's pitch for kind of his way to, I don't want to say fix the ending, but adjust it a little bit. And it definitely
no spoilers,
wasn't what people were. Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't what people were hoping or expecting. But it's really cool because the Winchesters filmed out here. It actually filmed south of the city and I think in some of the city. And I actually almost did background work for it when they were doing the pilot early on. I had the main background casting guy's phone number. I was texting him and we were living on the other side of Mandeville at the time or in Mid-City. I can't remember for sure because it was right around COVID. And I would have had to drive an hour and a half, and I think I got a flat tire the morning of. So it was a whole thing, and I just didn't make it out there. It was really unfortunate. But I was so upset later because I realized I've missed out on like just going and being on set with Jensen Ackles directing that entire time. It would have been a lot of fun. But it's really cool to watch it because I can recognize a lot of the areas. So, but unfortunately, it didn't go past the first season, partially due to reception, but mostly because the CW went bankrupt that year and it didn't have a new home to go to. They tried really hard to get other places to pick it up and it just didn't work out.
Didn't have a new home yet. Because, Frasier just got rebooted. Was that 30 years later?
Yeah, you never know.
So
you never know.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
You could always get rich, write it, produce it, and then you do it.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a friend doing a fan Supernatural spinoff project. Actually, she's very prominent in the Supernatural fandom community and in social media circles. Her name's Maddie. And she's doing one that's focused on like Indigenous and people of color stories, and with most of the cast being female. And she's going to be using Artemis I think at the end of summer at this point. I have to take it all the way up to Maryland so that she can use it just as a quick like final shot sort of thing. So that'd be really cool.
Wow.
Wow. And like when you bring it to con,
yeah.
That's a trip.
Yeah. That's a really long trip.
Do you drive it or do you put it on a trailer?
It depends on the distance.
Do you drive it or do you put it on a trailer so you don't have to?
Right. Yeah. That'll be a trailer. And most of the time for conventions, I would say if it's anything above 2 hours, we'll trailer it. Otherwise, I don't mind. She's a really safe drive. We obviously keep her very maintained. That's Chris's job. But if I'm uncertain about the weather or the road conditions, or the length of time, obviously, the less we put on the car, the better. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all drive it? I know we talked a little bit at the convention, but for purposes of the show, do y'all drive it around very much in between the conventions?
We'll be right back.
Have you been injured? New Orleans-based actor Jana McCaffery has been practicing law in Louisiana since 1999, specializing in personal injury since 2008. She takes helping others very seriously, so if you've been injured, Jana is offering a free consultation and a reduced fee to fellow members of the Louisiana film industry. She will handle your case from start to finish. She can be reached at janamccaffery@gmail.com or 504-837-1234. Make sure you tell Her NOLA Film Scene sent you.
So less in the past few months than previously, but I try to drive it a couple of times a month. I'll run an errand in it or something because it's kind of our extra car. If he's at work during the week, I work from home, so he takes the main commuting car. And then between the two cars left at the house, really the Impala is the only one to like go around the area with. But it's a lot of fun for me personally. I'm like, you know what? I feel like driving the Impala today, and I'll just go, pick up groceries or go run to the bookstore or something. That's always really fun because you get a lot of looks. And I just blast my my classic rock playlist for it. Get really in the mood. I know he enjoys it.
Oh, yeah. And especially now that the weather is getting to the point where it's starting to get a little bit nicer. It's not as cold as it was. It makes it a lot easier whenever your car is not exactly the best at, heating up or cooling down, like versus modern cars. Whenever it's comfortable outside, it tends to make it a little bit easier for you inside of the car.
Yeah, it gets hot.
Yeah. Does it was it factory air or did y'all add aftermarket air to it?
So we didn't. It's not factory air. Somebody else did add aftermarket to it. But the show car was a factory AC model. And we have plans, like many others who make replicas, if they couldn't get their hands on a factory AC model, to turn it into one, which can get really complicated and scary because
you have to cut into a metal dash.
Yeah, for the side vents.
Yeah.
Right.
There are others who just do the center vent for the dash, which I'm also considering. But basically, otherwise, it would involve a lot of rerouting the ductwork that currently exists with the aftermarket one through the dash to those holes that we would have to drill in the metal.
And to be fair, we did buy the vents and everything from an existing 67 factory.
Yes.
So we have everything to make it a
look right.
To make it a factory accurate car. So it's just a matter of, are we going to do it? We're still on the fence about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a scary thing, cutting into a dash.
Yeah,
especially since you can't really like replace it readily. I mean, it's it's not like there's like they're making a whole lot of 67 Impalas today.
I am almost at the point of considering like cutting out a certain portion of the tubing for the air vents for the sides, and then just like gluing them on the dash instead, because that would do less damage. And then just don't even worry about piping it through. Whatever works, because not every model that they used on set had
have a facade
either. Yeah, they just staged it if it didn't.
Right.
So
Yeah. Now,
so do you have the stats on the show? Sorry, Brian. Do you have the stats on the show? Do you know how many movie cars they used? Do you know that kind of stuff about the car?
So,
like Dukes of Hazzard, you knew how many cars they had and crashed over the years.
Yeah, the number tends to vary between what people say, but I think it's consistently around 8 or 9 total cars that they went through. So the very first one from season 1 was in fact totaled. They really did crash it at the end of season 1, and it sat on a back lot at Warner Brothers for years after that and just kind of rotted. They maybe took parts out of it for some of the other models. You have the 2 main hero cars, which Jensen and Jared each own now. There's one that was built from sort of a background car. It had been a white 4-door hardtop that was used from 11 onwards that Joey Jordan owns. So that one's Baby Sis is what it's affectionately named. So that's your 4th one right there. Technically speaking, they used a fan replica car, I mean, literally speaking, in an episode where they actually went to Chicago in the attempt of a backdoor pilot. That was for Bloodlines, where it was like 2 monster gangs, very Romeo and Juliet. So they used a fan car, so technically that's number 5. And then you've got, at least 2 different cars where they had like chopped off a front end or chopped off a back end, or just had pieces they could kind of, move around for camera purposes. And at least 2 parts cars. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. So when people say, well, was it used in the show, or does anybody have a show used car? They don't really exist. They're just gone. The only people who own them are the 2 main actors and Joey, because he got lucky, and the fan who filmed for Chicago.
Your car is the reincarnated Artemis. You've got its spirit.
Yeah.
The theme,
We love Baby. And so, people like to call our car Baby. And obviously, so a big thing with people who do replica cars is to give it a name that's related to the show in some way. So you'll see people who have Sammy, Dean. There's one called Rowena. There's one called The Darkness. They're everywhere. So when I picked mine, I was trying to do something different. And I really liked Artemis because I try to keep with Baby being, a female entity. And Artemis is the Greek goddess of the hunt. So I thought that was a nice tongue-in-cheek.
See, I because I didn't watch the show, I thought Artemis was the name from the show.
Yeah, we get
Baby's
that sometimes.
From the show.
Baby is from the show.
From the show, you're Artemis.
That's right.
Gotcha. Now, at one of the cons, and I think it was Galaxy Con New Orleans, the first one, you had a visit from a very special person.
Yes.
Did I get the con right?
You did. The first Galaxy Con so far, yeah. And hopefully we'll revisit
First Galaxy
this year.
Con New Orleans.
Yes, in New Orleans.
Because there are others, but after I'm stepping
there
up.
are, yeah. Yes, Emily Swallow was there, who plays Amara, also known as the Darkness. She is God's sister in the show and the primary antagonist for season 11. And she also reappears a little bit in the final season of the show. Wonderful actress, also on The Mandalorian, so she's very popular for that right now as the Armorer. And I think she also does Castlevania. Anyway, getting ahead of myself.
Does some voice work for that.
I found out I think when I was applying that she was going to be there, they had announced her. And I just kept crossing my fingers that they would approve us, because the only things we had under our belt were the St. Tammany Con and the Mississippi Con. And as soon as we got approved, I was like, I have to go talk to her and see if she would be willing to come sign the car, because that would be our first supernatural interaction. And it's a big thing for those of us with replicas. Yeah, go ahead.
St. Tammany was May.
Yes.
Mississippi was June. GalaxyCon was July.
That's correct.
So in the process of a couple of months, you're applying, and sometimes those things can take a long time to get into.
Yes.
To be a display, to be not a distributor, but, to get your butt in the con.
Yes.
Behind a table, so to speak. So I just wanted to drop that next. So you're crossing your fingers that you could have an interaction with Emily Swallow.
That's right. Yes. And we only found out they gave the approval for it, I think, just under a month before the convention. So we had just done the Mississippi Con when we got approved.
Right whenever we got back, we immediately found out about that.
Yeah. So we had to take a lot of tips and tricks from Mississippi Con when we met you guys, and when we talked more with Scott and with Justin, who had the Fallout van, about things that we could adjust for our spot. And so we got a lot more space, and we knew what we wanted it to look like. And yeah, when we got there, we didn't really know what to expect, because it was our first big national convention. But it was also their first time in New Orleans, which kind of played into our favor because it was a little bit slower. So on Friday, I just went and walked over to Emily Swallow's booth when we had time. And I walked up to her and I said, "Hi, Emily." And she's like, "Hi." And I was like, "Well, first off, I just want to say we have the same name." And she's like, "Oh, hey, Emily." And I said, "Second, I have the supernatural car over there. Would you want to come by and sign it? You would be the first one." And she was so excited to be the first signature. Right now, she's still our only signature, just because we haven't run into any other guests. But we're hoping to change that really soon, because we've got Louisiana Comic-Con a month from now is going to have Sam Smith, who is Mary Winchester, and Mark Pellegrino, who is Lucifer, will be at that convention. And then Mark Shepard will be at two more conventions that we're doing, I think into the summer. So, and that's Crowley. So we can get more. Oh, and actually, what am I missing? We're still hoping to do Memphis, Blue City Comic-Con, and that'll have Emily Swallow will be back at that one, as well as Kim Rhodes. So I'm trying to get all the ladies to sign first, personally.
Yeah, totally. And that's how TJ and I didn't meet you together. Jim Vess.
Yes.
And I. So that's when you started getting your origami dollars.
Yes.
We have quite a few.
Everybody
now.
knows Jim.
Yeah.
Like,
they just appear on my dash. I expect them fully now at every convention.
Yeah.
Yeah. We park the car, and the next day I come in and it's there on the dash.
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting used to all that money. So for Cajun Con, Jim helped us. He helped us set up, and we saw the car, because from where we were sitting, we were looking at, but y'all had already set up and gone. And I was like, I don't know if that's them. And he looked over, he saw the signature, he goes, "It's them."
Yeah.
So now we know you. We know how to find you.
Yeah. Identifiable. Oh, no.
So I guess I didn't realize that it wasn't as straightforward as just applying and paying an entry fee or whatever to get in.
No.
It sounds like you had, especially early on, had to kind of prove your worth to get the car into the show to begin with. It sounds like it was a little bit of a challenge.
Very early on for those bigger conventions, it definitely can be. So I think having Scott really sped up the process for us, because he got us into Mississippi Con with him, because right away that's a 30,000 person convention. And the other conventions that company does, VXV, are a similar size. And then GalaxyCon has a similar attendance level. Fan Expo has a similar attendance level. So they just want to see that you could handle it. And maybe they contact those conventions and go, "Hey, how did they do?" Or did they get a lot of presents? What really helps us as well is that people do know that Supernatural is still a fairly popular franchise. And it's technically a cult following, but it's a lot bigger than people think it is. So baby will always draw attention and they're excited to have it. Right now, we're still in that phase where we do have to apply, but we don't have to pay. But we have to kind of finagle what else the convention might be willing to work with us on when it comes to having the actors there, if we want to try to work out getting photo ops on their schedule, because that turns into a whole thing as well that you have to work out with their event coordinators and with the actors and their agents. So the bigger that we get and the more of a following that we get, the better. And then we get to have a little more sway.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that
Makes
whenever that first tiny convention we did, if Scott wasn't there, there's a good chance we probably would have not been able to get into Mississippi, which would have been the snowball effect that goes on that way. Like I said, it just happened to be kind of the luck of the draw where, they set us up and we just happened to be right next to Scott Innes, and his booth, I mean, it's huge. Scooby-Doo, his face is everywhere. There's lights everywhere. And, he loves the fact that whenever we showed up, he was like, oh, wait, Supernatural, that kind of goes hand in hand with the whole Scooby-Doo thing, especially with the, the Scooby Natural episode and,
yes,
later on in the show.
The best episode.
I would honestly
his
say
favorite
that
episode.
it's 100% my favorite one.
The best
But
episode
because
I've
of
seen.
all that,
Oh.
yeah, because of all that, though, it helped, like I said, get into Mississippi. And, honestly, like, obviously, that's how we met you guys. So, it's kind of funny that snowball into all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually was
didn't
going
lie.
to say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what was kind of funny about having Scott next to us at St. Tammany was when I got the car, I think we'd owned it like 2-ish months, so we had just put the insides mostly back together after having to strip it. And I had been exploring what conventions were kind of nearby us to get an idea where I might want us to go once we were done with the car. I did not think we would be going anywhere that summer, but I had come across Scott's convention and seen that it was going to be in December of the following year. And I had shot him a message on Facebook to be like, hey, I now have a car that I'm making into a baby replica from Supernatural. I think it'll be done in time for your convention in December. I'd be happy to send you progress photos. Let me know what you think. And at the time, he's a very busy dude. I don't know if you guys know. He goes to conventions and book signings and stuff all the time. But he only really got back to me like once or twice to be like, yeah, send me some pictures, your phone number, and I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated. So when I got us into St. Tammany and I saw that he was going to be right next to us, I was like, this is my chance to tell him and be like, hey, that was me. I sent you a message. And he remembered. He was like, oh, yeah. So really worked out for the better since we also obviously did end up doing his convention. And hopefully next year we'll get to put the Mystery Machine next to it.
Oh, nice.
That's a lot of in the right place at the right time happening for that car.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Considering, too, that I just thought it was going to be a proj,
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be like a convention car, and all of a sudden, here we are.
Right.
Wow. Chris, I'm guessing you probably would have been happy with just having a nice classic project car, and this is a bonus.
Honestly, because exactly that, I didn't know that was her aspirations to put it in conventions and all this other fun stuff that we ended up doing with the car, these film projects. And, I mean, we've actually been the quote unquote getaway car for a wedding at this point too, with it. And I didn't expect any of this. I thought it was going to be something that, I wrenched on the weekends and cool, let's go and, ride around town. I mean, and then next thing I know, hey, by the way, we got to get the car polished up for this weekend. And, oh, hey, you got to do this. And, fixing it on the fly, which does happen quite a bit actually at conventions. I mean, a 1967 Chevrolet Impala that is 58 years old or 59, I guess now, does break like 59-year-old things do.
Yep.
And,
Sure.
I mean, we've had conventions where with the thermostat went out, we've lost coolant. My distributor's gone out on it. We've had a few little things. The battery died when we first bought the car. I mean, it looks great whenever it's sitting there. And, for the, I would say 99% of the time, it's been about as reliable as can be, but it does have its little quirks and stuff you got to work through every now and then. And I didn't expect to have my weekends, occupied by that sometimes, but it's kind of half the fun of it.
It's started to pay off in a sense that we're not spending every evening and weekend working on the car. It has been months now, so fingers crossed. We can let it sit for a little while on that.
Well, and like you were saying, how these things just happen to happen. Success is 20% luck, 30% luck, and then the rest preparation. I've got my percentages all wrong. It's the same thing, and being in the right place at the right time. And I firmly believe, and you can say God, you can say the universe, whatever you believe, it's where you were meant to be, and you find your path, and then turning something, your fandom, your joy into, let's just say, call it a business, doesn't get much better than that.
Oh, yeah.
This has been such a great conversation. We can't shut him up. TJ, I can't shut him up either. So we're going to come back with a second episode, part 2 of Artemis the Impala.
Bum, bum, ba-da.